My name is Carlos Manuel Martir. I'm 42 years old, and this is Ruthie. She's a black English lab, and she's 4.5 months old.
My name is Nick Martinez. I'm on Team Blitzen, but I'm here to help assist.
My life before prison, well, there's a lot there, obviously. On the surface, it really seemed like I really had a lot of things together in my life. I had got away from the gang life. I had gone to school. I got an education. I had a really great career. I had a wonderful woman as my wife, and we had 2 beautiful daughters. So on the surface, it seemed like everything was well put together. The only thing that I didn't have was a clear understanding of who I was as a person, as a young man, and that's what I struggled with. I realize now that I was really lost, that in a lot of areas in my life that I lived in fear, and that's what really made me mad when I was young. I realized that I was really angry, so that's what I was like before. Unfortunately, it took for me to come to prison to finally find some type of freedom from that oppression that I had in my mind, right? And it's only by the grace of God that I've been able to change. So first and foremost, I'm grateful to the Lord for what He's doing in my life. And what's interesting is that when I first got incarcerated, that it was like a shock to me. Because in my mind, I thought that I would never come home. That there is absolutely no way that I could ever return back to society because of the violence that I had done. And that hurt. I remember going through like a mourning stage for a few years that I had lost my freedom. But like I said, just drawing closer to the Lord, it really helped me come out of that, recover from that. Eventually it came to a point in my life that living in prison became normal, which really bothered me because I couldn't help but to wonder if I had become institutionalized. That's something that you don't want, right? You don't want to lose hope in going home. And I had not lost hope, but I knew that the possibility of going home was so far away that there was really no point in me thinking about that right now.
Yeah. So what was your life like in prison? How has it been since you've been incarcerated versus you gave me an idea of what it was when you were in the street and how you felt coming into prison. So what was life like being incarcerated?
It's amazing because we're designed to be really resilient. So I learned how to adapt. But one of the things that I would say is that it really forced me to look inside my soul and to really clearly see who I had become. And I came to the point in my life where I had really been disgusted with who I had become. I was ashamed. I could not believe that that I had become that person. So I had to wonder why. How is it that I became the man that committed this horrible crime, that I took the young life of a young man? My mom did not raise me to be a murderer. I knew that for a fact. But obviously that there was something wrong in my life. So prison life was difficult. And like I said, I just learned to adapt just to make this a normal part of life. One of the things that really helped me survive, aside from my faith, is my artwork, right? So I isolated myself in my artwork as a way to cope with the reality that I was in a 6x9 cell, right? That they were holding me captive like an animal. And justly so, because the crime that I had done was very violent, right? So that part I understood. So that's more or less what prison life has been like for me.
So going from being in a cell to where you're at now, how did you come to discovering the New Life Canine program or wanting to get involved in the New Life Canine program?
Okay, so throughout the past 16 years that I've been incarcerated, I've had the opportunity to get involved in a variety of self-help groups, right? Not only to get involved in them, but to also help facilitate a lot of the groups. So they were like a good tool to give me a better understanding of who I had become. The problem is that I still kind of felt empty. There was a lot of areas in my life that I was struggling with. It wasn't until I got here to CMC West, right, and I was working as a mentor for SAP, where a situation arose where I ended up losing my job as a mentor, right? It was humiliating for me. I was really disappointed in myself. It's something that I shared with my family, right? That I was, and I'm sure they were greatly disappointed for my poor choices. So after I had lost my job at SAT, it took about a year for me to do some searching inside and to really work on myself before I could help anybody else. And it was during that time that the opportunity arose for me to get involved in the New Life K9 program. Right? One of the guys had asked me if I had considered joining the group. So I turned in an application with the hope that they would give me an opportunity to be a part of the program.
So since being in the program, how do you think the program has affected your life or your daily living? And how's the dog affected you since being in the program, being able to have a dog in prison? How has that affected your life?
So one of the things that I realized is that, like, I've always had a problem with authority, right? And what the program has done for me is helped me see people who are in authority in a new light. So there's been a shift there, right? Often in an environment like this, we don't get treated, right, like people. It's sad, but it's true. And that really just makes you angry. But I didn't want that resentment to start building in my heart, right? So being part of the program and staff and the COs understand what our mission, right, is with the dogs, right, to save lives through the healing power of the human canine bond, is that I realized that they really respected the work that we were doing. So that I really appreciated, because it humanized the staff, right, and they were starting to humanize me, right, and I know that I needed that. Another thing that I realized is that working with Ruthie has been amazing because, I mean, I cannot compare raising a dog to raising a child, right? But she has gave me a glimpse of what it's like to care for another living being, you know? So keep in mind, I'm in prison for taking a life, and they've given me an opportunity to care for another life, right? So for me, that's important, right? So working with Ruthie, right? Like the first week that she got here, I was getting up like 3 or 4 times every night to take her outside so she could use the restroom. And as time has gone by, we've developed this bond. She was only 9 pounds when we got her, right? Now she's about almost 30 pounds. But what I realized is that she's helped me be a lot more attentive to somebody else's needs. My awareness has been heightened, right? I have to be willing to stop everything that I'm doing at the drop of a dime because she has a need to be met, right? So that causes me to be a lot more selfless, to think less about myself. Not only that, but we're in a team that's about 40 guys, right? It's difficult to work with 40 guys.
Absolutely.
But it's also a blessing because it forces me out of my comfort zone. And I know that's what I need.
Yeah. So what do you think is like the biggest thing that you learned since you had Ruthie?
The biggest thing that I've learned is definitely the importance of service, right? I know that we're preparing her to be a service animal for somebody who's struggling with PTSD. I understand that, but right now I'm at her service. I'm helping her, I'm guiding her, and because we're part of a team, I also have to be constantly giving of myself.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I learned. It's not a 9-to-5 job, but it's 24 hours a day, constantly. I have to be aware of where is she at? Has she ate?
Yeah.
Right? Has she played? Right? Does she need to go bed or hurry? Like, what are her needs?
Yeah.
So that is something that I've learned and that I really value. Because I never thought that I'd be waking up in the morning with this little puppy by my side, right? Or her licking my face to wake me up. So I've definitely come a long way.
That's awesome. So to learn more about Team Ruthie, you can visit newlifecanine.org and you'll find information on how to support the program and the gentlemen that are involved here.